Hello and welcome to On The Break, the only place to get your fix of FIFA Club World Cup action, with the tournament just taking a little bit of a breather between rounds. It's been an action-fueled round of 16. We'll look back at that as we build up to a mouth-watering set of ties in the quarterfinals.
Whoever wins today will be into the last 8 of the FIFA Club World Cup.
And the Chelsea celebration will go long and loud tonight in Charlotte.
PSG are steamrolling the competition. Messi's Miami are out. What a hit! It's Bayern Munich who progress to the quarterfinals.
A historic moment. Fluminense, the side from Brazil, have knocked out the giants of Italy. One of the great match. One of the big shots of the FIFA Club World Cup.
Oh, it's a fabulous header. Real Madrid are into the quarterfinals.
Girassi again! Dortmund are bound for the Big Apple.
Joining me now are two guests who have had their eyes across the tournament from the very first minute, Liaz Bouzidi and Niamh Petruzziello. And Liaz, firstly to you, I mean, this has been high-octane stuff, hasn't it?
I really enjoyed this tournament, man. I mean, obviously this is the first kind of format we do it in, but it's given us a chance to see teams all around the world, different cultures, different sets of fans, and the quality of football right now on display, ridiculous.
And the fans too, I think, when you see them in the streets representing their area, it's sort of a similar vibe to a World Cup. You're the representative of your continent, which I think is even more grand than when you represent your country within the continent.
I think even on top of that, though, you have Brazilians with rivalries. You saw 2 Brazilian teams taking over Philadelphia. I think it's been really interesting from that point of view. And then, of course, you have the European powerhouses who are still trying to implement themselves there.
Do you know what? We've seen the carnival atmosphere from Brazilian fans. I was in Times Square when Palmeiras, on the eve of their game, their first game of the tournament, they took over Times Square. I was in Nashville, Tennessee with their Esperance de Tunis fans back in the group stage. They were there. Everyone is live. Everyone's here, and they're here for a party and they're here for a celebration. Who have you been most impressed by in the round of 16?
Oof. I would have to say Al Hilal. I think that win against Manchester City was the upset of the round. I mean, Al Hilal are a great side, but to take over a team, Pep Guardiola, the amount of world-class players throughout that squad, I thought that performance was amazing.
Yeah, I think I'd have to say who they're playing, Fluminense, actually, the pair of them. But I think with Fluminense, it's that sort of versatility we've seen game by game, and just the way they played with 4 defenders either side of Thiago Silva. I thought that was a really, really good approach.
Let's get straight to it. Lionel Messi's tournament is over. His Inter Miami side absolutely taken apart by the youthful exuberance of Paris Saint-Germain. Niamh, do you want to get us started on it? Where did it go wrong for Inter Miami in this tournament?
There was just a lack of intensity and quality across the whole team. And I also think it didn't help that they had Suarez and Messi, who you never want to say a bad word about these guys. However, when you've got players like that, everyone else has maybe got to do a little bit more off the ball, and I don't think they actually had those components available to be able to make that happen and facilitate the players that are on the ball who you want.
I think it was just an absolute destruction. I mean, PSG are the best team in the world at the moment. They showed it, the route to the Champions League final, and then the manner in which they dismantled an Inter Milan team, who are one of the best tactical sides on the planet. For me, going up against Inter Miami a few weeks later was only going to end one way. And I looked at the Inter Miami side, and yeah, Messi can still give you those moments of magic, but surrounding him, the pieces just don't have enough when you're talking about Hakimi, Mendes, Ousmane Dembele making his return in the second half. So it wasn't a surprise for me whatsoever.
Got to talk about Manchester City, another side who have had a very, very long campaign, and it's been a challenging one, struggling in the Premier League, a Pep Guardiola side under a lot of scrutiny, but very much evolving as well. And finally, their campaign comes to an end, albeit very, very late with that defeat against Al Hilal.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester City have really added a few parts to this team, but more so than that, I think tactically they're evolving as well, too. You look at the assistant coaches that Pep has added to his staff in the form of Pep Linders, former Liverpool assistant. Kolo Toure obviously has experience at the club. And this tournament did kind of give us a fresher outlook on City. They felt a bit more fun. They felt a bit more light. And in the form of Reinders and Cherki and Aït-Nouri, these guys looked like they could beat anyone on their day. That dismantling of Juve looked like a real statement. But they came up against an Al Hilal team that are supremely managed by Simone Inzaghi, even in the short time. And I think they really exposed a problem that still exists with City, that even despite the fact that they're a bit more free-flowing on the ball, that mistaken transition that City still tend to concede so many times during a game, Al Hilal just absolutely exposed it.
Got to talk about your goal of the round.
Ooh.
Leah's?
But my favorite goal was actually the first Dortmund goal against Monterrey, where it was almost a 20-plus pass move that involved every single outfield player on Dortmund touching the ball, and then an amazing pass return from Adeyemi and Guirassy, and then the finish as well on top of that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, really good goal. I'd say my favourite of this round has been Kane, because I just think it embodied what he's all about.
Instinctive, yeah.
And it's those instinctive striker finishes where they're not even looking at the goal that only that kind of player can do. You know it's not a fluke.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if there's another striker on the planet that scores that kind of goal. That is just Harry Kane to a T.
So we've got 4 cracking quarter-final ties, of course, all live on DAZN. Real Madrid booked their spot in the last 8, beating Juventus by 1-0. And our reporter Matt Cannon was pitchside for us in Miami.
Real Madrid are through to the quarterfinals of the FIFA Club World Cup by the skin of their teeth. It certainly wasn't an easy game for Los Blancos, particularly in the first half where they suffered quite a lot. But after a couple of tactical tweaks from Xabi Alonso at the break, things improved massively, and it was Gonzalo Garcia. It was that man again, the youngster, the 21-year-old, that opened the scoring. It would be the game-defining goal, a fantastic headed chance, and he made the most again of his minutes today in this game. What's the plan now for Real Madrid? Well, they will return to their Palm Beach base camp. They will rest tomorrow, and moving forward they will continue their training as they prepare for their match against Borussia Dortmund. So that is it. Real Madrid look forward in this Club World Cup.
Neve, a win for Real Madrid over Juventus. Gonzalo Garcia with the goal. Straight in, Xabi Alonso. What have you made of it so far? What have you made of his tenure?
Yeah, I mean, so he's trying things and we get to see them live as they're happening, like Arda Güler in midfield. Yeah, there's signs of some really interesting tweaks he's making.
Leah's, naturally we're going to be on Trent watch, aren't we?
Yeah.
What did you make of him? I mean, an assist for Gonzalo's goal, which is cracking. But again, playing right of that midfield, kind of in that wing-back role, kind of in that auxiliary role, if you like, in that 3-4-3 system. What have you made of his start to life in Madrid?
I think he's learning, to be honest with you. He's known one way of life his entire life, and he's come now to a whole new club, a new language, new teammates. And I think there's been highs and there's been lows. I think at the start it was a little bit difficult. And I think even in the game against Juventus, maybe the first half wasn't a traditional Trent game, but I thought that Alonso made some really good tweaks in the second half where Trent was almost allowed to be a bit more withdrawn. Like, he kind of likes making those long passes from deep. And then, of course, that cross to Gonzalo Garcia was trademark Trent. But on the topic of Alonso, I've been so impressed about how many players he's actually improved, because I think when you're a new manager, yeah, you can bring in your new players, new system, but what about the guys that are already there? You can't replace everybody. And I think Tchouaméni is a player that he's completely revolutionized as a central center back in a back three. I think Arda Güler, like you correctly pointed out, was completely on the outside looking in under Ancelotti, but now looks undroppable under Alonso. And Garcia as well, too. He's his wing back. So I give a lot of credit to Alonso, not just in terms of the players he's brought in, like a Trent, like a Huijsen, but dealing with what he's got. And I think it's been a really impressive few weeks.
To the favourites of the tournament face off in Atlanta as UEFA Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain take on goal-friendly Bayern Munich. Let's hear from our reporters in camp.
We are in Atlanta, where PSG players enjoyed a well-deserved rest after the victory against Inter Miami. Luis Enrique gave them 2 full days off. Some players are spending time with their family or going out for shopping or playing bowling. Next training session is Wednesday at Kenso State University. That win against Miami and the return of Ousmane Dembélé gave to the European champions a real boost ahead of Saturday's clash with Bayern Munich here in Atlanta.
Hi guys, just checking in from Orlando where Bayern Munich has its training camp after the win against Flamengo. The team is enjoying 2 days off. The atmosphere is great. They play a lot of pickleball, and I've heard there are tournaments within the team. So ahead of the clash against PSG in the quarterfinal in Atlanta, they start again with serious work tomorrow. There's a training session. I think they are ready for the Champions League winner from Paris. Back to you guys.
Guys, pickleball or bowling? Who's having what?
I ain't never gone pickleball before. Bowling for sure, yeah. Pickleball.
Because if you play bowling, there's usually an arcade as well. So
True.
No.
Oh, you're thinking, fairs.
No paddle? What's going on?
Yeah, that's a new one.
Exactly.
The key matchups in this game, let's go for it. PSG, so impressive under Luis Enrique. I think everyone's fallen in love with him, you know, following the Champions League win and the story of his daughter. And you feel like you really understand him and what it's all about. And for Paris Saint-Germain, this whole change to a youthful, a younger, more dynamic, more hungry setup, it's bearing fruit really impressively.
I think PSG right now are the side in Europe that everybody looks at and wants to play like in terms of the fluid interchanging of the forwards, no real target man, the the fullbacks inverting into midfield, taking up attacking positions. I think you look at City this summer with Aït-Nouri that's signing, Chelsea, what they're doing with Correa. Everyone wants to play like PSG. And the scariest thing about this Club World Cup for me is that they've been ridiculous without, in my opinion, the Champions League standout player in Ousmane Dembele. So Bayern have been amazing. I think Olise might be the standout player of the tournament so far, but this will be their toughest test.
Neve, Vincent Kompany's side, they've been very diligent, very professional in their work, and Michael Olise has been fantastic. What have you made of them?
Yeah, I think they're quite an aggressive pressing team. They're not afraid to step out. We saw that in the last game of Lima and Upamecano. I thought they were really good. Maybe they've not quite got the final product of pressing that PSG have got, which I think they could struggle with.
The other pick of the quarter-final ties sees Palmeiras take on Chelsea. Let's get a flavour of the mood in both of the camps.
Hi, I'm Luciana Quaresma here at the Nova Care Complex, the training facility of the Philadelphia Eagles, where Palmeiras are preparing for the big quarterfinal clash against Chelsea in the FIFA Club World Cup. All eyes are on Steven, the 18-year-old sensation, who will be facing the very team he's about to join. Will he decisive against the English club? We'll have to wait and see.
I've just finished watching Chelsea train here in Miami. That's where the Blues are based before they fly out to Philadelphia. It was a light training session from Enzo Maresca's side, and that speaks to the manager's desire to keep his team fresh for match day in what is very difficult conditions out here in America. And this is a Chelsea team that trained in the full knowledge that the path has opened up for them on their side of the draw. Let's see if they can get it done. It's win or go home. Let's see if Chelsea do it.
Lies, all eyes on Estival. I've been very impressed with the manager, Abel Ferreira. The Brazilian press label him sort of like a disciple of Jose Mourinho, and his side have been so disciplined, so organised. They've been very, very good. But talk to me about some of the key players in the Palmeiras 11.
I think every time we watch Palmeiras, it almost seems like it becomes the Estival show in terms of what we're expecting. But I think Palmeiras have been really interesting because although he's the focus point for us fans, a lot of players have really kind of made a name for themselves at this tournament. And I think Richard Rios was amazing at the Copa America a year ago, But this tournament has really been another coming of age campaign for him. And I look at what he kind of provides in midfield, and I think a lot of teams looking to bolster their midfield with a physical, athletic, but also very technically sound midfielder could do a lot worse than him. But on the topic of Estival, it has been a little frustrating. I think it is normal. He's a young kid as well, too, with a lot of pressure. When's the last time we can remember a 17-year-old that every single game he plays, everybody is watching to see what he does? Maybe a game against his future suitors. Of course, Chelsea will be bringing him in next season. Could be the game that kind of unlocks him. But as of yet, I think we're still waiting.
Neve, talk to me about Chelsea. This game against Palmeiras, they need to focus because it's a potential banana skin.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see who gets the better in that midfield. It'll actually be a real test for Richard Rios, especially if Lavia and Caicedo. Caicedo cannot play.
Yeah, so I think it's a huge loss for
Chelsea.
Oh,
wow. So this is there's an option, there's an area there where there's a chance for Palmeiras. Although what I will say for Palmeiras is that left back, Piquerez, he's not playing. Gustavo Gomez is out, the centre-back. But I do think it'll be interesting. Will Chelsea do what they did in the last game, where they moved it over to the left, and you saw Palmer facilitating Cucurella, or will they now look at the right now and think, let's get Palmer in his more comfortable position? Will Reece James be the player that goes up?
He's been changing every single game. I think all 4 games he's shown us a different tactical game plan, whether it's Palmer on the right, Gusto coming in midfield, Delab, Jackson played the first game. At the moment, I don't think there's anyone making more changes than Maresca.
And it's funny how game by game we might agree with what he does, but what we can say now in hindsight is he's tried all these things, he's got options for any type of opponent that he faces. So.
It's interesting to see Chelsea play with a proper forward as well, in the form of Liam Delap. I just wonder if there's room for João Pedro in this game.
He's available. Talked about that Cole Palmer left-sided role as a left 10. I could see João Pedro slotting in there very, very easily. Palmer maybe takes Enzo's position. Enzo takes Caicedo. It's interesting. Chelsea have options for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fascinating tactical battle. Right, it's prediction time. We're going to ask you guys to nail your colours to the mast. I want to know who you think you're going to be seeing in the semi-finals of this year's FIFA Club World Cup. First up, Fluminense taking on Simone Inzaghi's very impressive Al Hilal. I'll tell you what, I'll go to you first, Niamh.
Ooh. I think neither team will want the ball. Both teams will want to break out. Both teams are very comfortable not having it.
So where are we going? Come on.
My days, it's Fluminense.
For the most part, I won't go against Simone Inzaghi in a knockout-style game. What do you call it? Pride of Asia? I'm going for the Pride of Asia. Al Hilal. There you go.
The European champions Paris Saint-Germain taking on Vincent Kompany's Bayern Munich. Where's this going to end up? I mean, how's it going to go?
I can't bet against PSG at the moment. And big matchup I'm looking out for because as of now, he's locked up the best right wingers in the world. That's Nuno Mendes, but he hasn't faced Michael Olise yet. So I think that'll be a really good matchup to take a look at. But PSG right now, I don't know who beats them at the moment. I go PSG.
Yeah, I'm saying PSG.
Real Madrid taking on Borussia Dortmund. It won't be a clash of the two brothers, Jude versus Joe, with Joe being suspended. Which way is this going to go?
I think Dortmund will play how they play. It'll suit them. But I think for large chunks of the game, it'll work like with Juventus. But there's always going to be a split-second moment there because Real Madrid are always going to get chances, therefore, with the likes of Trent, putting those crosses in Ardagula. So I think they're more likely to get a goal.
I'd go Real Madrid for sure. It'll be interesting to see how much of a part Mbappe plays, though, because Garcia has been incredible, but there's a big dog knocking on the door right there in Kylian Mbappe, so we'll see. I'd go Madrid.
Finally, Palmeiras taking on Chelsea. Are we going to see Estal sting his future employers?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I've actually really liked what I've seen from Chelsea so far, and I think there's just too many areas where there'll be a little bit too much.
Chelsea just go about their business so far this tournament. And Palmeiras, I think it's been inspiring, but I do think there's too many holes in this team. I'll go Chelsea.
You know what? I'm going to write these down and we're going to see how these all sort of like fall out. That's it for now. We'll be back before the semi-finals, well, with fresh talking points, fireworks, and hopefully plenty of goals to look back on. Enjoy the quarterfinals, every minute of every game, live on DAZN. See you then.